Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel Learn English with Hamid. Today we do tenses and we start with the present simple tense. But before we start discussing the present simple tense, let me tell you something about the concept of tenses. So tense basically talks about time. So if we talk about the present tense, so it means present time. Past tense, so past time. Future tense, future time. So we're going to do the present simple tense today. And before we start that, one more point. Yes, I'm sure you know English is an SVO language. We say English is an SVO language. What does that mean? Well, it means subject, verb, object. In English, first comes the subject, then the verb, and then the object. And this object part is optional. So, for example, we have this sentence, I flew a kite yesterday. So, I is the subject, flew is the verb, and kite is the object. So, this is what SVO means. So let's start with the formation of the present simple tense, and we do the positive sentences first. So what do? We have the subject first, and then of course the base form of the verb, or we also call it the first form of the verb, and then the object, of course. So for example, I play football. We play football, or cricket, for example. You play football. They play football. So subject, 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 the base form. And when the subject is he, she, it, then we add an additional s here. So he plays, she plays, it plays. So we could have an additional s or es here. And we could have so many other such sentences. So I could say I go, we go, you go, they go, for example, and he, she, it goes. So in the case of go, we use es. I read, we read, you read, he, she, it reads, for example. So this is what we have as the positive sentences. On my left, we discuss how we make negative sentences. So before we do negative sentences, let me tell you a general rule in English, like a basic rule, and that basic rule is this: we use not after the auxiliary or helping verb in English. We use not, or we use not after the auxiliary or helping verb in English. But if you see here, I play football. In the present simple tense, there in positive sentences, there is no auxiliary or helping verb. So we have the subject, and this is called the main verb, and then the object. So how do we negate these kind of sentences when there is no auxiliary? So what we do, we introduce an auxiliary here, and that auxiliary here is do. So I introduce do here, and what I do, I follow this rule now. So we use not after the auxiliary. So here the sentence becomes I do not play football, for example. And here the same, we do not play football. And short it can be don't. What about this sentence when the subject is he, she, it? So he plays football, for example. So the same rule, I'll introduce do here, and then I'll put not here. So this is the basic structure. He do not plays football, but no. What we do, we remove this s and we put it here. So it becomes he does not play football. So this is how we make negative sentences in this tense. So do not and does not. Moving on to or I play, I don't play, I read, I don't read, I like that, I don't like that, for example. He likes football, he doesn't like football. He eats pizza, he doesn't eat pizza, for example. So when we say doesn't, then we don't put the s here at the end of the verb when the subject is he, she, it. Moving on to the interrogative sentences. Again, let's discuss the rule first. Here the auxiliary, now we know the auxiliary for this tense is do. So what do? We bring that auxiliary to the beginning of a sentence. That's the rule. If you want to make a sentence interrogative, bring the auxiliary to the beginning of the sentence. This is what the rule is. So for example, I play football, so it becomes do I play football? Or I play, do I play? Do you play? Do they play, for example? And what about this sentence? Do you think this is correct? Do he plays? Of course not. So what do? We remove this and we put it here. So it becomes does he play? Does he play? And again the same here, remove S from here. Does she play? Now this is the correct sentence. So I, we, you, they, we say do, where like do you, do they, do I, for example. So with these subjects we use do. But if the subject is he, she, it, then we say does. And then we don't put the S with the main verb. I hope that's clear. So the next very important point, when we have where these, we call these words the WH words or the WH questions. So if we have where, when, why, how, who, for example, these are called WH questions. So if we have these words in the beginning of a sentence and we have to make a question sentence with that, so the sentence will be like this: you want to leave? So then the question is do. So then this WH word will be used before do or does. So why do you want to leave? It's wrong to say why you want to leave. Or if the subject is he, she, it, so why does he want to leave? Why does she want to leave? So I'm sure this point is clear. Next we study the usage. Now we study the usage. So we discuss 6 situations where we use this tense. The first one is when we talk about facts. So most of these sentences are about me, by the way. Like first is I have 3 brothers. So this is a fact about me. I have 3 brothers. Or for example, if I say I have 2 markers in my hand. I have 2 markers. Yes. So it's a fact. I have 5 fingers. I have 10 fingers. Fact. So I have 3 brothers. We use this tense for fact. Or yes, probably this is a better example. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So fact. A universal fact, we also say. We also use this tense to talk about routines. For example, if I talk about myself, so I say I get up at 6 in the morning, for example. This is my routine. I exercise daily. I go to work daily. I work 5 times a day, for example. I have my breakfast at this time, for example. So these sentences are about my routine. What about your routine, by the way? Tell me in the comment section. The third usage is we use this tense to express our likes and dislikes. So one sentence about me and one sentence about an imaginary she. So I like pizza, for example. She hates salmon, kind of fish. So, and these sentences can be negative as well. For example, if I say I don't like salmon. Yeah, so this is also like 3 on this side of the board, 3 here. So the fourth is we use this tense to talk about future events. Yes, we can use the present simple tense to also talk about future events, but not every future event. For example, it would be wrong to say, if I say, oh, I go to school tomorrow, I go to see my friend after 3 weeks, for example. So this tense we use to talk about future event, but scheduled future events or scheduled future events, like events which are kind of part of a timetable. For example, some routine, yes, timetable. For example, the train leaves at 4 now. For example, what's the time? Yes, it's 3:30 now. So, and if I say the train leaves at 4, I could also say the train will leave at 4, but this is also correct. Why I use this tense here? Because the departure of a train is kind of a scheduled event and it follows a timetable. The same is the case with the next sentence. For example, the PM leaves for Saudi Arabia tomorrow. So again, it's scheduled, scheduled, and we use the present simple tense to talk about the future action. That the fifth usage is we use this tense to talk about actions that happen in the past, but when they're reported in news headlines. For example, recently the Queen has died, and she died 2 days ago, but maybe, for example, if the Queen died today and you read tomorrow's newspaper, so tomorrow's newspaper might read like this: the Queen dies at 96. So now this sentence is about a past event, but we use the present simple tense for this past event. The last point is the present simple tense is used in sports commentary as well. For example, a sports commentator at the end of a match, for example, will say this: Pakistan win the match. So now Pakistan, for example, has won the match or have won the match, but a commentator will use this sentence. So Pakistan win the match. So here it is used as a replacement of the present perfect tense. Another sentence is Sarfaraz comes back for a second run. So those who understand cricket will understand this sentence. So Sarfaraz is, for example, a batsman, and he hits the ball and is coming back for a second run, but a commentator will say this sentence. So the present simple tense used in sports commentary. And that's it, what we have for today. We'll do a part 2 as well. Best of luck, see you.